Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine's Google Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Abbott, and you have now entered into yeah. Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine's Google Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Abbott. So we're gonna mute it. I'm trying to hit a lot of people with the link to come in if they choose to come in, and hit people with the link to let them know they can watch this morning before they get ready to go to their respective camps or classes or whatever. But how y'all doing? Peaceful Sabbath and everything. We got a hot topic on the table. The conversation has been watered down a whole lot. I think a lot of people really haven't been trying to deal with the complications of what I'm about to talk about. So before we get all into it and stuff, let me just give you the title. Israel Doctrine Answer should be an S on that. The question: should Israelites classify themselves as RBG Hebrews? So people, my conversation to people in the back channels and stuff has been this. I'm going to give it to the public. Number one, let's just deal with the term Hebrew and the term Israelite and the significance of Hebrew and Israelite. Because on the panel the other day on Maccabees TV, I basically got my life threatened for, the term Hebrew Israelite and stating that we shouldn't use it, that it's not found in the Bible back to back like that. You can go to BibleGateway.com, go through all the different versions of the Bible. I think they even got some Hebrew stuff, and you won't see Hebrew Israelite in no shape, form, or fashion. Them words are never close together to denote a Hebrew Israelite. Anyway, linguistics was brought to the table, everything for people trying to justify the traditions or doctrines of man. So I don't even say Israelites or the nation of Israel should classify themselves as Hebrew Israelites. So it's no, we should not, or they should not, because I'm not going to do it, classify themselves as RBG Hebrews. So now, since we got that out the way, we're going to go into the significance of Hebrew and Israelite. Then we'll get on with the conversation, and hopefully some people will wake up, get the link for those that got the link. If you can't come in and you know somebody that will want to come in, hit them with the link. Because everybody is not camp related and they don't go to classes. They just keep the Sabbath day holy, amongst a small congregation of family and friends or whatever. So if you feel like you want to come in, and even if you're RBG and not consider the Israelite and stuff, because we're going to basically dog that RBG term or acronym this morning. Not super bad, but, we're going to do something about that. So you might not like it. So Hebrew, people say it's a tongue, which has to deal with a terrestrial thing, not a celestial thing, though the people in the celestial realm or the beings in the celestial realm has a tongue too. They speak, whether if it be God or the angels, right? But the Hebrew physical tongue, people say they call themselves Hebrew because of the tongue. Like Spanish people speak Spanish. You know what I'm saying? English people speak English. Italian people speak Italian. French people speak French or whatever. So this has been an argument for the term Hebrew attached to Israelite. Then some say Eber, Abraham father, and Abraham the first to be called a Hebrew. So since Abraham was a Hebrew, Isaac was a Hebrew, Jacob was a Hebrew, this dealing with genealogy. Then the 12 patriarchs are Hebrews, and therefore we Hebrews. Still terrestrial people. This ain't dealing with nothing celestial. None celestial. All terrestrial. Earthly. right? What up now? So we supposed to worship God in spirit and truth. If you ever read that passage in the book. And the term Hebrew, quote unquote, is not spiritual. People could make that argument if they want to. I'll argue against it. People say it came from heaven. I don't believe. Which angel brought it forth and said, you know, your title or your name is gonna be Hebrew now? Nah, that didn't happen. But with Israel, Jacob, the Hebrew, wrestled with an angel, thought he was wrestling with God because he was dealing with a celestial being, something higher than man. Got his name changed to Israel, and the name came from the heavens, the celestial, and so therefore that's a spiritual thing. The fact that he was wrestling with a spirit to get this spiritual name, which holds the simplicity of if you're Israel, you have power with God and man. You know what I'm saying? That's a spiritual thing. It's not a carnal thing. It's not a terrestrial thing. But since people so caught up in carnality and want to deal with the physical genealogy, they hold on to Hebrew. Now, I don't really blame them or mad at them for them. I'm just trying to get y'all the mindset of why when I say I'm not a Hebrew, though I know the genealogy of an Israelite comes out of the Hebrew, I'm trying to say I'm trying to elevate in the seeing past the physical into the spiritual realm with a spiritual mindset. So hopefully that's understood. Now, another reason why I don't use Hebrew like that to identify myself and stuff, because I'm not trying to deal in the physical. I'm trying to deal in the spiritual. Hopefully y'all can understand, comprehend now, and maybe some of y'all will graduate from the carnal mindset and the Hebrew mindset, because people be like, Hebrew culture, Hebrew this, Hebrew that. When we gonna get to Israel this and Israel that in the spiritual mindset and leave this carnal mindset alone? The carnal is enmity with God. Can't please him in the flesh. You can't enter into the kingdom in the flesh. But I'm through with that. Unless I got somebody to talk to about that, I'm gonna get off of that. So now let's go into RBG Hebrew, because now you add an RBG to Hebrew. It don't need to be done. Just call yourself a Pan-Africanist. A Pan-Africanist can be anyone from the African continent or anybody that want to see those from the African continent make their way back to the African continent. But as I done told people also in having this discourse, you know, a lot of them brothers didn't want to say Pan-Africanist or Pan-African because the One West camps, who I agree with, we shouldn't use the RBG term. And that's a big statement for me to agree with the One West camps in any shape, form, or fashion openly. But I got to agree with those brothers on this, that Israelites should not classify or identify themselves as RBGs. We're going to get deeper into this as time goes on. And hopefully, you know, people that advocate this will come through and we can speak about it. Because I believe after hearing this conversation, whether if they hear it live, whether if they participate or hear it later, will agree. I got demonstrations like crazy. And I ain't even got no PowerPoint or nothing. But we're going to go on. So I agree with Daniela, Tazariak, and others that was on the forum to say Israelites or Hebrews shouldn't identify themselves as RBG. Now, you want to know the reasons why? because of what RBG represent nowadays. You could try to go back to the beginning like Tazariak did the other day. Red people, black people, Irish people. I ain't even worried about that because the federal government is not going back to red people, black people, and Irish people. And that's who I'm worried about. The people that's trying to put my people in the belly of the beast in terms that would get my people devoured by the beast to the point they dwelling in the belly of the beast. That's all I'm worried about. That's all I ever worry about. So if anybody out there ever choose to ask the question, Carl, well, what do you do for the community? Well, my number one goal as a watchman is to warn you so you won't end up in the belly of the beast, being persecuted for something you shouldn't even be affiliated with, for something you shouldn't even be identifying as, organizations and organizational titles that you should stay away from. And if you don't think that's a great job for the community, you're a goddamn fool, I must say. So, we done already established that I agree that we shouldn't use that term. We're going into the who, what, when, where, why, and how, and all of that. 5 W's and H, right? Like I said, I ain't got nothing written. But let's go. Who identify themselves as RBG? Militant people doing. You want to be a militant Hebrew or a militant Israelite? You can say, okay, I don't have no problem with people that's militant doing that. You know, I want to stand up in pictures with guns. You know what I'm saying? I want to pull off this kill Whitey, you know, sentiment. I want to look like I'm a threat to those that may be a threat to me. Though they will be legally, you know, justified when they do what they do because they the cops, they the police, they the military, they this and that. They gonna have documentation where they can do what they want to do to you and you don't have documentation. But anyway, that's just putting your life on the line for nothing. But anyway, so who do this? Militant people. As the argument been, comedic people, atheist people, those that say they're about the revolution, yet they're gangster. So when you put RBG on your name, on your organization and stuff, this is how it's being looked at. That you're those people that would disrespect the American flag, stand on it and fly your RBG flag. Or we ain't even got to say flag. We could just say your colors, because you might want to wear a red hat, a black shirt, and green pants. You might want to paint your car red, black, and green. You might even want to put on some shoes that's red, black, and green, seeing that they selling them nowadays. So all you need the combination of the colors, whether if it's a flag or not, to try to denote that you are RBG. And once again, who is RBG? Who represents RBG? Now I'm gonna give you an example for a Hebrew Israelite or a Hebrew that say he a RBG. Michael Edwards is the representation of what RBG or RBG Hebrew is. If you don't believe me, go on YouTube, type in RBG Hebrew, and see who you get. Who's the poster boy for it? Got more videos up and stuff because he puts it in his name. Just like you can go and look at Tahir RBG, who's a rapper, producer, and stuff. You're going to find him when you type in RBG. You're going to find Dead Prayers. You're going to find all the brothers and sisters that use this terminology. But when it comes to the Hebrew or Hebrew Israelite or the Hebrew fashion, you're gonna find Michael Edwards, and that's somebody you don't want to represent what an RBG Hebrew is. So for all those that goes under that title, they never check that brother. They never talk to him about the attributes and things that he show on the internet. But when they say they RBG and people go look up RBG Hebrew, they gonna find Michael Edwards. Truly, you want to be in bed with him. You want him talking on the behalf of saying what a RBG Hebrew is and stuff. And because he used that name, others that call themselves RBG Hebrews will overlook, once again, not checking that brother on things he's saying do, and the fashion and the people that he keep and stuff in his circle and around them and stuff. So just like I tell people, I never wanted to be a Hebrew Israelite because of the poster boys. I most definitely wouldn't want to be no RBG Hebrew because of the poster boy. And we'll put an S on that, boys. A men, poster men. They might not want to be called boys. Poster men. You see what I'm saying? That's another argument on the table we could deal with. You know what I'm saying? I see I got somebody here. What up, D? So that's another argument, because when you use terms and names and stuff like this, people gonna relate it. It's called algorithms, so on and so forth. So these are the people that say they RBG, and these are the people that you're gonna be affiliated with or seen as if you don't distinguish yourself from them in any type of way or whatever. But I'm gonna fall back and I'm gonna let this brother speak because I got time. What up, D?
Oh shit, what it do, baby?
Nothing
What's
much,
the
man. I'm just dealing with who calls themselves RBG, and for those who coming into it and would choose to use the terminology, how they gonna be seen and perceived by others due to the fact that others use the term and they might be out there a whole lot more representing RBG than those that just started.
I mean, that's with anything. You know what I mean? You gonna have people that's not necessarily what you would call the quintessential representative in every faction of life. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have people that's claiming that they Christian, but go over the curb every Saturday. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have people that classify themselves as one West Israelites that be in people's face acting like they brothers, but then be cutting that same brother behind his back. You see what I'm saying? Because he not in a particular camp. You see what I'm saying? You gonna have RBG brothers that's doing certain things. So I mean, it's always gonna be a situation where uh, people may have an opinion that this person or that person is not the proper representative of their body politic. That's just life. But what I will say is, what I'm saying, at this particular point, man, how RBG brothers got Tazariak to even bring us up and mention us in any shape, form, or fashion when them Christian apologetics was on them niggas' neck. You know what I'm saying? It was us giving them niggas the resources and books to read, teaching them niggas about church history, defending them niggas. I was on the Ron show defending them niggas. Divine Prospect took on the whole. It was all about them niggas because they was going at ISUBK net, and them niggas ain't had no real defense historically because them niggas don't know history. Them niggas ain't know what the fuck they was talking about. You see what I'm saying? They was getting
All
their
right,
ass
well,
tore up
let's
by them Christian
establish. Let's keep
apologetics.
profanity
Huh?
down just a little bit. Let's keep profanity.
All right, all right. But when them Christian apologetics was on their neck, it was us that came to their rescue. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Because people like Daniel Allah, he kind of just stayed out of it. You see what I'm saying? He just said, well, whatever. They say whatever. I ain't tripping. You see what I'm saying? But when it came down to it, it was us that came to the ISUPK rescue. Because they ain't had nothing for them Christian apologists. They don't even know church history. You see what I'm saying? Sakari stepped up. They tried to come in and help a little bit and stop some of the bleed. But ultimately, it was an RBG, Divine Prospect, or RBG Hebrew, is the one that backed them Christian apologetics all the way up. So for him to say we ain't Israel, nigga, you niggas ain't Israel. You the most divisive group in Israel, and the least taught in Israel, the worst taught in Israel. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, like I said, man, I ain't gonna go on no rant about that, but man, that was weak. You see what I'm saying? And Carl, you know, I'm in a group with them. We're in a group with them dudes. But it's buddy buddy when they need some when we when they, as long as you on their team defending them, they cool. You see what I'm saying? They you know, so you a brother. You they out then. But when they don't need you for nothing, then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, now you ain't a real Israelite. You see what I'm saying, man? Get the hell out of here, man.
All right,
And
I hear
Michael
you
Evans,
on that.
and
That's
Michael, and Michael Evans was right to blast the niggas. At this particular point, you come at anybody, you come at the fact that they, and I'm gonna classify them. I'm gonna exclude AOC. I'm gonna exclude Lions of Israel. I'm gonna exclude everybody else that they consider, you know what I'm saying, flunkies of One West that couldn't make it. I'm gonna exclude all of them. You said I'm gonna exclude GOCC. I'm gonna exclude all of them. You want to be on the island, be on the island. You know what I'm saying? Don't be in people's face, chest and cheating, laughing and giggling, but talking shit behind their back. And I'm gonna send you what I'm talking about, so you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? If you're gonna be, if that's where you stand, nigga, stand on it. You see what I'm saying? Stand on it.
yeah, I hear
You know
you.
what I'm
I,
saying?
I understand most of that. You know, I'm one of the outcasts of Israel. And I was in that same chat that I believe you talking about. You started that. I was in there, and because the love wasn't being shown, I got up out of there. Because when brothers trying to act like you not a brother, and then when opportunity presents itself, we brothers of the same struggle. It's like, nah, we ain't on the same struggle, because if we was, we'll be eating out of this, can of beans together. You know what I'm saying? We'll be sleeping on this little floor together, trying to share this blanket and stay warm in the winter. We got to go through the struggle together. And most people, they just try to leave me out of it. But I appreciate Daniela letting me on there. I didn't even think he was gonna let me on there, so that was love. But let's just deal more with where I was trying to go with it right there. That the people that do represent it before the RBG Hebrew Israelite term was created, there was people representing it. And as I say, Michael Edwards is like the number one Hebrew that represent RBG Hebrewism. I don't know if he started it, things of that nature. So let's just talk about the history of RBG Hebrews and how they define themselves to show that they're different than your average RBGs that's out there on the street.
Well, I mean, you gotta understand, RBG Hebrews have been in existence since the UNIA. You see what I'm saying? I mean, when you got Josiah Ford, the Rabbi Matthew, you see what I'm saying? I mean, we've been in the forefront in the beginning. A good book to read on there that's called Black Judaism. You see what I'm saying? That's a good by Landon. I can't think of his first name, but I know his last name is Landon. That's a good book to read on it. We've been at the forefront of Black Power before Black Power. You see what I'm saying? So we always been there. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, Rabbi Matthews and Rabbi Ford. You see what I'm saying? And we always supported the red, black, and green. We was there with the red, black, and green to found it. So it's not, Michael Lewis couldn't have founded it because it was already in existence 100 years ago. You see what I'm saying?
So
So
is that not just Israelites being a part of the Pan-African movement, which existed before a red, black, and green flag even existed?
I mean, but you got to think even before that though. We could take you to Israel Hill in 1811. You see what I'm saying? We can take you, you know what I'm saying, to Cherry. We could take you all the way up to Denmark Vesey. You see what I'm saying? A lot of these people already knew that we were Israelites. Even when you even read Nat Turner, the Confessions of Nat Turner, you see what I'm saying? He talks about. So I mean, we always knew we were the people of the book. You see what I'm saying? No matter whatever dispensation of time you want to look at. You see what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of us coming to that realization and actually embracing it. But we always knew that there's nothing there.
Yeah, I'm not really saying nothing against that. I'm saying that all these people existed before Garvey. You can even go, Garvey loved Booker T, and he was coming over here to meet him before he passed and stuff. And he was building the UIA based off of the Tuskegee machine and this, that, and the other. So even before Garvey, it was other people that was representing Pan-Africanism. You know, I interviewed a sister by the name of I forget her first name, but Miss Wright, she went to Booker T's Tuskegee and everything, and she wrote a book, you know, Pan Africanism and Booker T. Booker T, like, just explaining to people that he was a Pan Africanist. So if you say Pan Africanism, it existed before there was a flag for the Negro. And so therefore, Pan Africanism and all them people that helped build that, you know, type of mindset from the W.E.B. Du Bois and whoever was repping Pan Africanism, that was before the flag. The flag came in answer to the song that they made, right? And when that came in, then red, black, and green became a term you can deal with and say, well, we now fly the red, black, and green flag, or we deal with RBG. So that didn't come in at first. So I'm even saying people that say RBG is really copping out because they don't want to say just Pan Africanness. You know, and dealing with the younger generation, we do that. You know, we deal with acronyms, we deal with different stuff, and we start changing things of old and bringing it into modern terms. Just the word Negro or nigger is used in a different connotation today than it was back then, because we said we taking that and we gonna make it ours and we gonna show it as a term of endurance, right? Endurement. So to take RBG today, it really was being repped by those Kemetic brothers, people like Dead Press and all that. That's why it even got shortened down to that, which goes into red, black, and green. So I'm saying from this point, because this is where, as I said earlier, I don't know if you was on, the federal government is looking at RBG, and they not going back to when Garvey said red for the red man, black for the black man, and green for the Irishman. Even that the Tazariak call itself dealing with. They looking at it in modern terms and who represents the red, black, and green flag and how they represent it and the threat that they represent to the world today. So when Hebrews use that term, if they don't clean it up or define themselves or show themselves to be separate from that, then you're gonna get pulled into that backwash of what's going on or what has preceded the RBG Hebrew movement.
Well, I think what I think is that you gotta understand is, you know what I mean, the geopolitical ramifications of claiming that you're an Israelite, period. No matter what moniker you put before or after, that you can call yourself a Hebrew like nationalist. You can call yourself an RBG Hebrew. The fact that you're a black person in America and you are claiming you're reclaiming your heritage, you're gonna be labeled X, Y, and Z regardless. I mean, because it's already known that there's a reason why they couldn't send those people from the Mona home. It's a reason. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go off into that because I talked to somebody and I told them I wasn't gonna put it all out there like that just yet. But I mean, it's a reason why they couldn't send them people home. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's something that people gotta. They couldn't send them back to America. I mean, so they couldn't send the people back to America. There's a reason why. So, what we gotta go have to understand is what we gotta understand is we have got to that we're gonna be a target regardless. We're gonna be a target regardless. So, I mean, and especially if you talk about organizing politically, You see what I'm saying? Because that goes back to the memorandum, I think it's memorandum 48. You know what I'm saying? When they talk about, so they fear us linking up with the people in Africa and forming a unified front. That's their biggest fear. You see what I'm saying? So when we get to talking about organizing politically, that becomes their biggest issue. You see what I'm saying? So it's no wonder that they would send one of their agents, provocateurs, to come against the RBG because RBG is all about Pan Africanism, like ID said. But we are basically the ambassadors of the geopolitical arm of the Israelite movement. That's pretty much it. You see what I'm saying? So of course you would send a group of people who, based upon the 501c3, you know what I'm saying, is forbidden to organize politically. It's no wonder that you would send them against the people who are uh, who are political in nature. So that's all.
Yeah. Well, see, like me, Israel Doctrine is entertainment is not a 501c3. Um, I understand that you don't have to pay taxes if you're a church. You don't have to incorporate as a 501c3 and stuff. So I'm not an advocate for it or against it. I would like to talk about it more with people and have that discourse. But I was a big opponent against the term Hebrew Israelite because of the poster boys or poster guys, men or whatever, dudes that represented it and was saying that when you call yourself that, but yet they using these people to profile. This the profile they using. Though you saying you this, they profiling the group as this. They're using this person. When you say thug or thug life, you see Tupac. You don't see Nas and Mob Deep and stuff. And if you do, you say, well, y'all came along after this. Either you usurped this, like you said the other night. If I'm gonna listen to One West stuff, then I'm gonna go to the originators, and I don't want to hear all you other people that came out there with Joe this, that, and the other. So this the same thing for RBG. If a RBG Hebrew can't tell us the origins of where RBG came from, and if those origins are not conducive with being, a spiritual man and a certain thing and stuff, then we shouldn't deal with it. So I'm not talking about the red, black, and green flag because that represent Pan-Africanism and stuff. And I don't think the ones that say they RBG and where they come from, that they dealing with Pan-Africanism. This is why you got them screaming atheistic stuff. This is why you got them screaming gangster stuff. Now, there's a such thing as being like the mafia and stuff or whatever, wearing your suits and stuff and having lawyers and having hitmans and suits. That's some gangster stuff there too. But sagging your pants, banging your RBG flag as if you're a blood crip. You know what I'm saying? You just taking the gang affiliations and now you saying, well, I ain't blood or crip no more. I'm RBG, but yet we gonna sag our pants, we gonna bang our hats, and we gonna keep gang banging. Which I don't have too much of a problem with that if it's a uniting thing, but if you bring it all together, then you gotta put it in a positive manner. Because if you don't put it in a positive manner, they're gonna take the negativity and stuff and use it against you. And we should not be running around just cursing and threatening people and doing stuff and being persecuted for that. We should be persecuting for feeding the children, having after school programs, teaching them math, reading, computers, and stuff like that. Now, if you're being persecuted for growing your community in righteous steps, then that's a whole nother conversation. But the foundation of what I know to be RBG don't look all that righteous.
Well, I mean, like I said, about perspective. Because I know RBG Israelites like my boy Sean Patterson, the Black Radical Liberation Party, that police his neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? That participate in all this stuff. I know my boy Zay knows. You know what I'm saying? He do his thing in the community. So I mean, it's all about perspective. You know what I'm saying? My boy James said, trying to get Israelites to invest in real estate. You see what I'm saying? So I know a lot of people that's RBG Israelites that's doing their part. You see what I'm saying? And doing their part with their own money and ain't doing it because they have to keep their 501c3. So that's that's gonna be a whole nother show that we're gonna have to go into one day. Where I break down the 501c3, how you got to be fair to the people. You got to create programs be for public needs. That's a stipulation in it. So anybody that's bragging about what they do under the auspices of the 501c3, you're doing that because you gotta do it. You ain't doing that because you ain't doing it. You ain't out there out the kindness of your heart. You got to do it to keep that status. So, and the people that I'm naming, they doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They ain't got no organization behind. They spending their own money up to do it. They ain't getting no tax break to do it. They ain't donate and get their leader or whoever to get them a damn receipt and get a tax break at the end of the year. It's your
Yeah,
own money
I
you
feel
spend it
you
up.
on that. Now that goes down to being politically smart with what you're doing, because if you're doing it already, you ain't even got to have a 501(c)(3) quote unquote church. So when people have a church organization on the 501c3, that's a whole nother thing to talk about. But to be 501(c)(3) or have that status, if Walmart's, which we know most Walmarts ain't gonna close out. So let's say a place like Dillard's or a JC Penney have a spot where they just got a store separate. It ain't in no little shopping mall or whatever, and they closing that business out in some rural area of downstate Illinois, New York or something, not even in the city, and you have a 501c3, they can donate you that building and they get a tax write-off for doing that. So now you have a building and a place to set up your computers and do stuff and really help the children. But without that status, they can't donate you the building. I won't say they can't. I haven't looked at the legal ramifications of it, but it's much easier for them to donate you the building that's a 501c3, because they can write it off. Now they not gonna probably do that out the kindness of their heart, because they got to deal with uh their paperwork where they get ready to pay their taxes. So that's a strategic thing that one will have to look at in using that and how you use that. And I don't say it's a sin or something to do that, but I understand you saying it's a government funded thing and they require that. But if you're doing it anyway and it makes it easier, then that's tax. You either choose to do it or not, but you know.
I mean, then you got groups that don't have it, that's doing the same thing. I mean, you got Daniela, Atlanta, Israel, they do the same thing, but they ain't got the status. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. If it's coming from your heart, you don't need that. You see what I'm saying? Because your whole thing is about the people. And you don't, when you really trying to be a servant of the people, you don't get rich because you put so much of yourself and what you about and what you, your own money and revenue into what you're doing that you're not going to get rich off of it. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't about the tax rate because it's about the people. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know what I'm saying? That's, go back to Brother Bang when he said, I'm telling you God's words, not no hustle.
Yeah, I mean, I
You know what I'm
understand
saying?
if somebody uses something and it's unrighteously, and you know, like you said, if the government forcing them, but they like, we wouldn't want to do that stuff for the people anyway. But since we got this and we getting a tax break and we getting this money on some, you know, Tazadaki and embezzlement and stuff, at the end of the day, okay, that's straight. But I'm not I'm not looking at that argument right now because I'm not really, you know, I don't have no friction between none of this stuff. I'm just the one to say, look, man, let's not look a certain way or appear a certain way and get locked up in persecuted for appearing to look like that. Now, if you're a killer and you going out there doing your thing, do your thing, and they gonna persecute you and take you in for trying to be the next, you know what I'm saying, Nat Turner. But if you ain't trying to be Nat Turner, don't go put on Nat Turner clothes and stuff and walk around like you Nat Turner and then be like, well, they persecute me. Well, they thought you really wanted to be Nat Turner. So they got at you like you was Nat Turner. You know what I'm saying? But brothers be perpetrating, and then this perpetration brings, you know what I'm saying, adversity to the whole community. And it's like, nigga, if you wouldn't have went out there, that's like with gang banging. Your little homie go start something with the other crew, and you running around and you going to the mall with your children, and they see you, and then they bum rush you and beat you up in front of your children, and you don't even know your little homie went out there and did that. Then you coming back like, man, them cats jumped on me at the mall and this and that. Niggas like, well, let's ride. And then it's like, well, why they jumped you? They just seen you and jumped you. There wasn't no rhyme or reason behind it. And then the little homie said, well, I got into it with them today. And it's like, oh, nigga, you kicked this off. And you ain't even tell nobody. So when you have affiliations with organizations and groups, and you have people in there that want to act like they Nat Turner, but ain't Nat Turner, it brings adversity. You know what I'm saying? Adverse situations about. This is all I'm saying. This is tact two, because if you're gonna be in political war, economic war, social media war, or whatever war, there's casualties at war, and you gotta make sure that when people come and they strike at you, that they ain't justified for striking at you like that. That's all I'm saying with saying RBG. I believe it's gonna have adverse effects on those who say it, and they don't even need them issues. If they just don't say RBG, they wouldn't have them issues. Because of the other people that say RBG, it brings about those negative connotations. And some of them would even dare to try to be like those other ones that brings that negative connotation to stuff.
I mean, I understand. I mean, I understand what you're saying as far as it may have a negative connotations. I mean, but like I said, at this particular point, I think that you know what I'm saying. Uh, once you claim that you're Israel, you're gonna be targeted. So it don't really matter. All the other stuff don't even really matter. You see what I'm saying? The moniker, whatever moniker you put before or after, you know what I mean, Israel. I mean, they ain't really tripping on that. They know who is what and what's what and why is what, and that's it.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know what type of time you're dealing with. So I give you I give you what you need to get off until you know have to roll. So I'm on some who what
Nah,
when I'm on some who what when where why and how stuff though. So
I mean, it ain't really no whole bunch of ego. Like I said, I mean, you know, you got people like James Cassell, who was brought up all these years ago. That's the way he was brought up. I was pretty much brought up on RBG, even though I wasn't always Israelite. You know what I'm saying? So there's always been my political affiliation going back to my great grandparents. So that's, I mean, so it's like people you brought up with whatever you brought up in. So it's just it's a school of thought. You know what I'm saying? And it's a school of thought based around a socio-political ideology. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you can be practicing Pan Africanism or RBGism or whatever you want, Darwinism, and not even understand that's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You go outside another platform, you practicing group economics and Darwinism. If you come on with Doctrine platform, you practicing group economics with the Darwinism. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's those are the tenets. You see what I'm saying? You know, so I mean, it don't matter what somebody say. You can say that you're not with it, but if you practice them in tennis, it's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? I mean, we talked about this a long time ago. Black liberation theology, you understand, is something that led to the birth of most Israelite movements in the first place. You see, that's the foundation in the first place. So where did black liberation theological concepts come from? Those are Garveyite concepts. You see what I'm saying? I mean, all the way from the sense of one God, one aim, one destiny. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, those are the things that we have got to grasp. We've got to grasp that as long as you know that you Israel, that's the danger. You see what I'm saying now? You know what I'm saying? What makes you doubly dangerous or even more dangerous if you are trying to organize politically. Larry Hoover didn't become a threat because he was just when he was gang banging and he just had a whole bunch of niggas with him. That's why just because you got a camp or a congregation or whatever the fuck you want to call it, that don't make you no goddamn threat if you're not organizing them people to get them people together or organize them politically. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think Larry Hoover said real gangsters go to the polls? You see what I'm saying? He became a threat because he's trying to organize the people politically. Jeff Fort became a threat when he started trying to organize people politically. You see what I'm saying? Tupac, when he talked about when I get out, I'm gonna start my own political party. He started trying to organize people politically. When Pimp C said, I'm a create a rappers union, and if you don't have a certain level of skills or what have you, you're not gonna even be able to get in the union. That's politics. These niggas don't become a threat till we start organizing politically. Well, you can have a million motherfuckers on your team, but if you motherfuckers niggas ain't doing shit politically, that don't because that means you ain't affecting change in your community. Guess what? That don't mean shit.
Yeah, I mean,
You
you
see
know,
what I'm
I
saying?
agree with that 100%. That's why I started using the term Israelite nationalist. And I just dropped the black off because Malcolm X then was pushing black nationalism and stuff. So, you know, this is how I started dealing with it. Simple as that. Because dealing with stuff social, political, and economically in your community is what you got to do off those three tenets. This is what you got to do. So when you start doing that and telling people to deal with that, keep your dollars in your community, let them circulate, create business in your community, and doing things like that, which goes back to churchonomics and all the other stuff that I've been talking that most people don't even get to hear because they be hating and stuff and they don't participate in it because they hate and stuff. And people like Mighty Hebrew and Divine Prospect that do talk that stuff, they don't want to talk it with me because they don't want me to mess up their paradigm in which if I see holes in it, I said, no, them holes, and you need to either fill them or don't step over that or you're going to fall into it. And they not trying to better me in those type of ways because they not trying to have a conversation with me. But that's why even that thing that happened with me and Mighty Hebrew happened the way it did because of past politics over nationalism. As he say, you didn't start Hebrew Israel. I mean, yeah, we say Hebrew Israelite nationalism. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite, so I don't start no Hebrew Israelite nothing. You see what I'm saying? You can have it. I didn't start Hebrew sovereign national. You can have it. But when I say Israelite nationalist, you don't say you're Israelite nationalist, so don't come running your ass over here in my lane. You see what I'm saying? Because this is the term I'm using, which denote me not being what you are. So we can all have our own lanes and do our own thing when dealing with the political aspect of Israel and what we should be doing. You know, I'm about pushing the Black Manifesto. That's why I went to Tallahassee. We just didn't have a chance to do the lecture, but I'm going back and we're gonna do the lecture. You see what I'm saying? And the Black Manifesto deal with reparations and all of that, and what we gonna do with the reparations and blah blah blah. Cause I'm on the political thing. You know that. That's why I went over there and did that show with you, Godaya, and Hebrew Perry. Because I'm on some nationalist stuff through the theocracy and theonomy that is ours. So you know, yes, it's most definitely time to organize politically and deal with things. And those that's trying to do it, I think that's what it all gonna boil down to. Because even if we do that, you know, just like those that run for governor, president, this and that, you can't be affiliated with foul people when you're doing that. You can't be affiliated with pedophile rings and do that. You can't be part of Pizzagate because when these things are around you, people gonna tie you into them. So when you out there politically challenging the system and do these things, and they gonna bring the CIA and they gonna bring the FBI and they gonna try to tear down your organization, you can't have no blatant BS on the table. You just can't have it. So, cause if you do, they're gonna destroy your political party and what you're doing, the Black Panthers, blah, 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 blah. There's many ways we can organize under different names and titles and stuff to do stuff. And if we just did it under Israel, we're gonna get flack. But most definitely, I'm gonna get flack for Israel. I ain't gonna get flack for nothing else. Me myself. Anybody else choose to? I mean, that's your political disposition, I guess.
And like I said, though, I mean, most of us use the epithet RBG as a political designation. So you know, okay, this person is willing to work with Taharka Bay. This person is willing to work with you know what I'm saying, Hassan. Not Hassan Campbell, but I can't think of my brother last name off the top of my head. You see what I'm saying? Or Issa Maki. You see what I'm saying? I'm willing to work with Iman Bashir. You see what I'm saying? I'm willing to work with Lord Aga. You see what I'm saying? I'm willing to work with people that may not subscribe to what I subscribe to, but I know that they're good brothers. You see what I'm saying? And we can work on building something. You see what I'm saying? So like I said, but other people can make it out to be whatever they want to make it out to be. They got their right to do so. But everything gets perverted. You see what I'm saying? Everything can get perverted. You see what I'm saying? And I can't worry about people who perverted what RBG means. I can't help homosexuals try to latch on to RBG flag. I can't help that. Just like no more than somebody who rocks the Star David can uh, do anything about the state of Israel having great pride with the ruler under the Star David. You see what I'm saying? You can't do nothing about what somebody does under a symbol. You can't stop it. You can't do nothing about it. You see what I'm saying? But what you can only thing you can do is control what you do and how you move and how you act. And that's pretty much it. So I'm not really focused on that. I'm focused on what we doing. You know what I'm saying? What I'm doing, what people in my circle doing, and the
Yeah,
people that I'm affiliated with Lisa doing.
yeah, but see, this come down to people stealing people's stuff. Cause even if you try to take it back to Garvey, that's what happened. People that came in and took Garvey's stuff and ran with it and made it this. So if you gonna come in, like when I really started talking RBG and stuff, like I said, the point was when SETI and Polite came and said they Pan Africanness and they took RBG and it was Pan Africanism against Hebrew Israelites. And it's like, as you say, it was quote unquote Hebrew Israelites in Pan Africanism. And Pan Africanism dealt with spirituality and stuff. So, how are you a Pan Africanist and how can you rep RBG or that flag, red, black, and green flag, and you're not that? You know what I'm saying? So now you're false flagging and you're falsely claiming something and trying to usurp that. So if you, that's why I'm saying that if you saying you RBG, you got to take it back to the origins. And you have to even deal with the fact who shortened it and made it that and said RBG and repped it. That's why I say, well, who the hell said Hebrew Israelite? How the hell you something and you don't even know the origins of what it is? And you can't take it to the scriptures because it's not in the scriptures. It's man-made. Now, which man brought it to us? And why do we still rep something for those that do and you don't know what it is? It's what Ice Cube said, niggas dying for a street that they ain't never heard of. They ain't never been to. You claiming the game, nigga, I'm blood, this, that. Well, what did that start at? What is the tendency of that? So when dealing with these type of stuff, just like sororities and all this different type of stuff, you're supposed to know your history. You're supposed to know your lit. You're supposed to be able to get a foundation. And when you see a person out there false flagging and claiming your thing and messing it up and getting your name hot, then you got to get them off of that. That's violation. Because you out there doing this, you gonna dirty up the name. Now my life in danger, my family in danger, our work and efforts, blood, sweat, and tears is in danger because you out here running around in our name, dirtying it up. This is politics too. You can't keep saying you're a Democrat and you ain't holding on to Democratic stuff. They're gonna tell you, no, you need to go start another party. We throwing you out of here. You're not a card carrying member no more. And when it came to Garvey's movement, you had to be a card carrying member. and people ain't carrying cards no more. So how can people just, you know what I'm saying? How could people just claim something and you ain't a part of it? Even the game, though they don't carry cards, they card carrying members. This is why Mighty Hebrew them gonna have people carrying cards like the Moors when they dealing with this sovereignty stuff. So how the organization is ran and how you define who's in the organization or not and who's false flagging and claiming names now. You have to do all these things. Nobody can claim Israel doctrine. And if they do, come holler at me. I'll tell you if they're a part of Israel doctrine or not, because that's mine. So, I mean, I understand this politics, believe me. Though I don't claim to be, I'm a politician. Chicago is one of the most political places on the earth. So, you know, you learn politics. You learn stuff. Street politics to government politics to church politics and all of that. And this is what it seemed like is going on, and people gotta just start dealing with it politically and stuff. So I would suggest for you and the brothers that say they RBG Hebrews that you lay down what an RBG Hebrew is, and y'all get y'all some cards or something. And say, if nigga ain't got this card, or he ain't on this paperwork, he ain't no RBG Hebrew. He ain't over here. He's just grabbing the name and running with it, but he's not that. That's the thing about being a part of a church and a 501c3 church and stuff. They let people know, they let the government know who's paying tithes, who's a part of the congregation, this, that, and the other, so people can't go out there and false flag and say, well, I'm a part of the Israel of God, and then do something in the Israel of God name, and then now they on the news. Remember the Israel of God just shot up this or did that. You don't want that. No, this nigga ain't no paperwork. He's not a part of this. And if he is and he do something, you got to reprimand him and let him know, look, we're going to kick you out if you're not doing that. That's what happened to IUIC when that dude shot that trainee up in the face in Evanston, Indiana. They said, well, this is the day we kicked them out the church, this, that, and the other. Because if not, this guy who we see in pictures with you and affiliated with you just shot a trainee in the face. And all the stuff that we looking at and dealing with now took place when Michael X. Johnson allegedly shot the police in Dallas. Kareem Gang got shot up. What's that, in Baltimore, wherever she was. And when that brother shot that Trini in the face from IUIC, this started heavy investigation and stuff into black people and the different black organizations that people in. So we're in a very political climate. brothers
I
got
mean,
their
yeah,
ass across their teeth.
yeah, I know we're in a political climate right now. But I mean, we also gotta understand that whatever's gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? The Most High don't accept. And whatever happens, gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about man that can destroy my body. I'm worried about who can destroy my body and my soul. You see what I'm saying? So if whatever's gonna happen, gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? But at this particular point, we gotta start focusing on organizing politically with whoever's willing to organize with us. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not focused on if it's gonna be an RBG or whoever. I'm focused on if it's a Moore. I'm cool with that. If it's a NOI, I'm cool with that. So we'll just see whoever's down at this particular point.
I understand
If this
that. That's
particular,
because you have knowledge of certain things. All I'm saying is for anybody that got an organization, if you don't really tell people what it is and they come into your organization and then they start receiving persecution for stuff and they lack knowledge, I put it like this. When I had to go against the Ra squad with that masonry stuff, and brother Chris bounced on them and wigged out on them because he's like, y'all never told me you was Masons, and all of a sudden I'm a part of the Ra squad, this organization, we got Masons in here, and you never disclosed that to me. people gonna become disgruntled. This is how you get people start to snitching on organizations and doing stuff because they don't know what the organization doing. They are part of it. They're putting their energy and stuff into it, and they don't know the foundation of what they dealing with. When persecution come, those that know what's going on gonna be strong. Those that's weak, they gonna break and they gonna tell stuff that they ain't got no business telling because they were gonna say, I was never a part of that. I was never in the inner circle to know, or I never knew they was doing this, or the organization was this. So you have to completely inform your members of what's going on. If you got it like a mystery system and certain stuff is not to be known in the public but known amongst the members, then you inform the members and you keep it out of the public, never disclose it in public. Then once again, this is when you could deal with stuff, because the way stuff coming and becoming, that if people doing this stuff and really trying to make a nation and do this and have strong stuff, it's gonna come a time where people taking oaths and doing stuff, and anybody that breaks certain things gonna have to be dealt with, because it's life and death on the line. I'm not finna tie myself to somebody in my life and my family and this and that with nobody, and I don't fully know what I'm tying myself into. And then if I do that and somebody violate that, then there's gonna be stiff consequences for that. So even with that, political gang, whatever you want to call it, mystery system, this, that, and other, when you start joining forces, that's why I don't like to do the squad team, cliques, and all of that, because I'm very upfront about who I am and what I'm gonna be doing. And if people doing something that is detrimental to me and I didn't agree to it, nigga, we gonna have a problem. We could talk about the snitching clause of this and that, but even if we say we ain't snitching, then you gotta go if you put my life and my family and everything in danger because you didn't follow what the organization was truly about, or you had some inner circle inside the circle where you doing stuff that you ain't got no business doing, putting the organization, me and my people and everything online. It just can't be done, man. It's got to be fully thought out, fully planned. The blessed plan, as Animal Smith said, I love it when a plan to come together. The best plan is one that can soundly be laid down, carried out, and fulfilled without the madness.
Like I said, I agree with that. I agree. You got your plan got to be fully thought out. You got to try to dot all your I's and cross all your T's. I agree with that.
So I think that's enough said for the day, though, man. I'm gonna let you get back to, your day to day, what you got to do. I'm gonna try to get back to mine. Holler at some more people. I'm gonna try to move on to another subject, but this is a pretty hot subject. It's talking about the politics and stuff and what's going on in Israel. And I think I'm gonna hit it again, but I'm gonna lay it down for this weekend and see what other people say and stuff, and I might chime back in a little later. But everybody's welcome. If you RBG, you know what I'm saying, whether you Hebrew, Kemetic, or anything else, even Moors, because your flag is red. Then before you get to that green 5-point star, there's a black lining around it. Then you get to the green. That's red, black, and green. So with that said, I'm gonna say peace.